So there are some topics that need to be addressed once in a while. It's not a pleasure for me to talk about them, but it seems to be necessary. They are also prerequisites for our practice. These are three topics of respect, generosity, and gratitude. These things have no value for me, so you don't do them for me, but you do it for your own good. When I talk about respect, then if you see... If you see me as your teacher, and that holds for lay people and that holds for monks, as long as you see me as your teacher, then it is good if you pay respect. And if you have respect, or at least show the respect if you don't have it, if you haven't developed it. Show respect. And that means while I give a Dhamma desana, you should not do drinking or eating or something like that. That is one form. The other form is paying the formal respect. A teacher, be it in the world or be it in the spiritual, is good if you have some respect. Because he teaches us something. He tells us something. He tells us how to live in this world, or he teaches us how to live in the world, just like our parents. All of them do need our respect. If we have no respect, we are like trees that have no leaves and no fruit, just take the water of the other trees who bear fruit and bear leaves. Respect is something that we should develop in the course of our practice. If you don't see me as your teacher, I don't care if you have respect. This is no matter for me. It's a matter for you. If you do not have respect for the Dhamma, we cannot practice the Dhamma. If we do not have respect for the Lord Buddha, what's the use of it? Respect is putting us, at least formally, or then if we develop it further on, not only formally but mentally, under the person who teaches us. That means we are able to listen. If we don't have respect for our teacher, then we won't be able to listen to him, what he says, and we are not actually going to do what he says we should do, or we should try to do. And then it's useless. Then the teacher-student relationship has no use. Please do keep that in mind. As long as you regard me as your teacher, then do have some respect. As I said, it's not for my personal gain. It's for your personal development. When you think about the path, you know in the end, you have to trust something. You have to trust either the Dhamma or you have to trust the teacher. And most of us do have to trust the teacher. Because they don't find the Dhamma yet in their heart that can guide them. So they do have to trust the teacher. For being able to trust the teacher, one has to have some respect. And if you think about the path, the end of it is getting rid of the identity of oneself. All conceit comes from disrespect. When we disrespect a person, we are conceited that we are better. Now think about it as I used it whenever I looked at my venerable teacher. he knows something that I don't know. I still can learn from him something that I haven't learned. That puts me always in a lower state. And he is always on a higher place. Because he knows he has gone the path, he has gone the path of practice, he has gone it to the end. So who am I to judge him? This is respect. This is utmost respect. And this is helpful for proceeding in the way of Dhamma. For going the path, not suddenly thinking after 1 or 2 months, now I understand what he says, I'm clever. Like a lot of people, and this especially holds true for Westerners. For Thais, you don't have to say something like that. Thais do they have it, still naturally have it. But in the West, we have managed to destroy it completely. Respect for teachers, respect for parents. We just look at them as fools, as idiots. And it's not helpful. It's not helpful on the path. In other realms of beings, we have to have respect. We cannot, if we don't have respect, we cannot even dream of entering the heavenly realms. Because respect there is a must. It's not an option. It's a must, if you want to go, if you decide to go in the heavenly realms, you have to have respect for your leader. You have to have respect for the leader of the group, or for the king, or for anything. And we in the human realm, we have, especially in the Western Hemisphere, we have gotten rid of it. We have managed to destroy it completely. We don't respect our parents, we don't respect the teachers, we don't respect people who teaches us. Who are not only formally our teachers, but just teaching us. So we have to learn it. It's something that we have to learn. If you really want to progress on this path. And if you remember what I just said now, when I give a days and I don't drink or don't eat. This is respect. Not just following one's wishes, but being respectful. When I finish my talk, then I don't mind if you drink or if you eat. And when I give a talk, don't interrupt with questions. When I'm finished, then you can ask questions. This is also a form of respect. It's for your well-being. Has nothing to do with me. I don't gain anything from you showing me respect or you having respect. It's for your own well-being, that you are able to tread on the path that I teach you. The more respect, the more faith you have in what I say, the easier it is for you to go. And I'm sure that I have certain things to say. I've gone a long way on the path, I can teach you. And this is something, and now remember this very well, with a lot of Western monks, or a lot of Western disciples, this is one thing that lacks the most, respect. It's just lacking. People getting overconfident, people getting cleverer than their teacher. That is the end of the teaching relationship. And that is the end of our path. That's where we stop. The moment we think we are cleverer than the teacher, we are cleverer than the Lord Buddha, then just think of how much have you done along the path that you can be clever. Have you developed all the 10 paramis that you can decide, that the Buddha was right or wrong? Have you? If you have, well, then why are you not enlightened yet? If you are cleverer than your teacher, why are you not at the level that your teacher is? Just thinking, makes us clever. Developing humility, developing respect is a must on the path of practice. It's, as I said, it's something, the Westerners lack the most. And that is the reason for most of the Westerners not to give it up and not to attain to path and fruit. To Makkaphala and Nibbana. Now count on your own hands how many Western Arahants there are. And why are they not? Because they lack this faculty. They have not developed it. They only develop practice of samadhi or maybe vipassana, investigation, and that's it. But they lack in the gratitude that comes for everything what is given to us. They lack in respect, thinking they are smarter than everybody else, thinking how good they are, how well they are, how well they practice, how good their practice goes, or how smart they are. They don't need to do this, what the Lord Buddha teaches. They don't need to do that, what the Lord Buddha teaches, because they are smarter than the Lord Buddha. The Dhamma, as it was proclaimed 2,500 years ago, is not outmoded. It's still up to date. And in 2,500 years, it will be still up to date. It's the only thing that is really up to date all the time. The world changes just in the outside, in the methods, in the food, in the landscape, and so on. But it doesn't change inside. The Dhamma doesn't change. The Dhamma does not need to be updated. So if we really want to go, and that is the forest tradition that is prevalent in Thailand, they just follow the rules that were proclaimed 2,500 years ago. And they just do what the Lord Buddha said 2,500 years ago. And that's why a lot of people here in Thailand, the last century, so many have attained to arahantship. Because it is still valid. The path of the Lord Buddha is still valid. Be it 2,500 years old or be it whatever. It's still valid. If you follow the path, then we will get there. If you don't follow, if you think the times have changed and we need to change the rules, then we are gone. We are beyond hope. This is not the way. It's not the way. Just think about how much a Lord Buddha has to develop himself. The 10 perfections, he has to perfect them all. And one of the perfections takes eons of lifetimes. Eons is an uncountable time of lifetimes. So, and how clever are we? How clever are we? How much have we developed? So, how can we utter these words? How can we be cleverer than the Buddha? Or how can we be cleverer than the teacher who is, to our understanding, far apart, at a much higher level than we are? But we still think, this is not right, or this is not right. He doesn't behave like this, or he doesn't behave like I want. This is not helpful. Just follow the path as it is taught rightly. And the way that I teach is in the way of Thanachan Mahaboa, that is my venerable teacher. And it's the way of Thanachan Man, that is his venerable teacher. And it's still in the line of the Lord Buddha. I don't say anything. I don't say you have to do this or you have to do that. You have to build houses or salas or this or that. I just say you have to practice. You have to do walking meditation and sitting meditation. But because these things have been lost or have been destroyed in the West, I need to have a talk about it once in a while. Especially sometimes when I see, some people go and they just, have nothing of this. Respect is one thing. Gratitude, being grateful what is given to us. Everything is given to you for free. It's an attitude. It's an attitude in our heart. No, in the West, no, of course what is given, we take out. When everything is free, we ask even for room service or this or that. This is not a way. This is not gratitude. Gratitude is just, being happy with what is given and being really grateful, being really thankful for what is given to us. And the things are given to us. Everything what we need is given to us here. So where's your gratefulness? Where's the gratitude for it? It's an attitude of the heart. The gratefulness to receive Dhamma is also an attitude. We also need it on the spiritual path. It's not just like for us. I don't care if you're grateful. I don't care if you're respectful. It's for you. It's for you who want to practice. Understand that clearly. It's something that we have lost or that we have managed to destroy in the Western Hemisphere. The Thai still have it, so there's little need to talk about it. But the Westerners don't have it. So there is a need to talk about, to remind you that these things are important factors on our path and our practice. It's not that all of the people who come from the West, are lacking in this. No, certainly not. As I told you before, in the beginning, I wasn't even touching these subjects because it was not necessary. The Westerners who come had respect and had gratitude and had generosity. But now, while the time tracks on and the more Westerners come, then of course there are coming also some Westerners who think, they must take They think that, when everything is free, then that they take even the opportunity to take even more. They don't feel any way of generosity. They don't feel any way of gratitude for what is given to them. They ask, for more and more and more. It is just a sport in the West, I know. It's a sport when you see something is cheap or you go the cheapest way. But you're hurting yourself. In the end, you're hurting yourself. And then you take even advantage of when something is free. Advantage to the fullest point. It doesn't hold for all the people, but it holds for most of us who come from the Western Hemisphere. We're just not trained, when we think something is free, we take it and take it and take it. And then we think it's our right, to take it. It's not our right, it is given to us. So have some gratitude for it. It's our karma that makes it possible. Remember it. If you hadn't had developed some of the virtues, you wouldn't be able to stay here. But that doesn't mean that you don't have to develop it from now on. You still have to develop it. And some of you more and some of you less. They just don't have it. Generosity is something that makes this all possible. The karma of generosity or the good karma of generosity makes it possible for us to stay. But in generosity in the West, it is. When I hear some of the questions, where do the monks get the food from? Do the monks have to buy it? Where's the money coming from? If they would have to buy it. No, the Thai people, give everything what the monks need to them. Not only the Thai people, even in India, the people are even more generous. Towards ascetics, towards people who practice the path. They're extremely generous. They come, do you need this? Do you need this? Can I offer you this? Can I offer you that? In the Western Hemisphere, if somebody is not drowning, we don't help him. If somebody is not starving, we don't help him. There must be for us a reason for being generous. And if we are generous, we just draw with an unhappy face our purse, and give a little bit. But here in Thailand, it's not so. If you manage to come on a big day, where people, come in the evening, before the big day, maybe at 6 o'clock, maybe midnight, and they wait for 8, 10 or 12 hours, just to give Thanaja Mahabor 1,000 baht the next morning. And all the time they are happy. They're not even asked to give the money. They come, they come from far away. Sometimes 400, 500, 600 kilometers. They come just for this occasion to give. To give. Give food or to give money or to give gold or whatever. Just making it possible for them to give. They wait, and they don't draw a face when they give. Like they have to give. They don't have to give. They do it because of their own will. They do it because of the joy of giving. That is inherent in giving. If I don't have a joy in giving, it would be a waste of time. There's a joy in giving something. no matter how the recipient receives it. And this gift or this attitude or this ability has been really, really lost in the Western Hemisphere. The ability just to give, just out of the joy of giving. And when there's a big day, you see all these food stalls where people, whoever comes, can take food for free. Can you imagine this happening in the West, where there are 300 food stands of different sorts? Some of you have seen it. Nothing can be sold in the area of the Wat, so everything is given free. It's not only given free for the monks, it's also given free from the visitors, the lay people who come there. So whatever you want, you just go and you don't have to buy. It's given to you for free. Like the food is given to you for free every day by the lay people who support this, who just want to make donations, who want to be generous, who want to produce good karma. So in one way or the other, we have to change our attitudes in these three areas. Generosity, remember, the good karma of generosity. And I think I told you the story of the one bhikkhu at the times of the Lord Buddha, who was always stingy. In his previous lives, he developed stinginess to the utmost degree. But then at the times of the Lord Buddha, he decided to become a monk. Wherever he went, he just got a handful of rice in his bowl. That was all. Because of his stinginess he has produced in the past. He got only one handful. He was not full, but he could manage to live on. A handful of rice. The monks before him became the full bowl. The monks after him became a full bowl. But he just didn't find the food, just didn't find any way into his bowl. Because of his developed stinginess in the past. Then the Lord Moggallana and Sariputta saw that. And then they thought, they're going to put him some food from their own bowl into his bowl. But after the Anamodana, that means after the thanksgiving of the food, that is normally done by the monks before they start eating, the food all had disappeared from his bowl again. Just by magic, it has disappeared and only a handful was left in there. Until the Venerable Moggallana, used his magic powers to keep the food in. And what happened to this monk? That's the first time in his monk life that he could eat himself, he could fill himself up, so that he wasn't hungry anymore. And what happened in the evening at 9 o'clock, he died, out of constipation. That happens to stingy people. People who are not generous, who don't develop generous, who don't want other people, to share in their wealth, or to share in their riches. And the riches must not be only money, but it can be all sorts of things. So just don't think it's your right to be here and to take everything for free. Just don't think this. Just develop the attitude. The attitude of respect. The attitude of gratitude. Be grateful what is given to you. Look at the food that you get. It's the best food that you can get in any kind of monasteries around here in Thailand. And the teaching is one of the best that you can find anywhere in the world. Why not being grateful for it? Just don't take, because it is your right. You think it is your right, and if something is free, it is worthless for you. Just don't think about it. Why the Dhamma is not sold, why these things are not sold, is because of one reason. Because they are so precious that one cannot, nobody in the whole world could afford the price, to buy this Dhamma. That's why it's given for free to everybody, that anybody, be it a poor person or be it a rich person, can take part in it if he wants to. And I don't like to talk about this topic. And in the West, I get really furious. When I was in Germany for 6 weeks, when they asked me if I want to give a talk, then they always wanted to put out, please make donations. I said, no, I don't want to see this. I want people to give free on their own will. So don't put it on. Because this is sort of, asking for money. And I don't ask for money. I don't ask for this, I don't ask for that. I just want to remind you that this kind of generosity is a part of our practice. That respect is part of our practice. Asking for donations, you can donate whatever you want. It's just like asking for money. And I said, why are you not honest and just put on the mountain so other people can judge it, Asking for donations in the back is not my way. It's not Dhamma to ask for donations. People don't, Tanaja Mahabua doesn't ask for donation, except if it's for the Thai country. Then he asks, then he's pretty much direct. But it's not for him, it's not for his monastery, but it's for the Thai people. And he says, open your purse and, just put everything out and give it. Even your necklace or your watches and so on. But that is something different. Normally the monks in our traditions do not ask for anything else. But that doesn't mean that I should not talk about this topic. Of course, within Thai people you don't need to talk. They come by themselves and ask. Because it's still inherent in their culture, still. It's changing. But it is still. Wherever you go, you get some food. People ask you what you need. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to live this life. We wouldn't be able to live the ascetic life. We are dependent, and the Lord Buddha made it a rule that we have to be dependent on the lay people. That we cannot earn our own money, or that we cannot grow our own food, or that we cannot do this, or we cannot do that. He made it very clear that this dependence on the lay people, prevents the monks, or prevents the monkhood or the nunhood from becoming conceited, and keeping the Dhamma for themselves. So he wanted to have the interaction with the lay people. And that was his reason. But in India, it has been all the time. It has been like ascetics of all kinds. Somebody who wanted to become an ascetic or a samanin. They were supported. There was always food for these people. In the center of the village, there was a place, where these kind of people could take their food and then just live the way of their religious practice, whatever religious practice they had. People don't mind. But they should be, they should be given the opportunity to live in this way. But this counts only for India and Thailand, and the rest of the world is, forget it. And I say this, and I remind you this, because I see the value of gratitude, respect and generosity. It has a big value if you want to develop our practice really, if you really want to go on with our practice, if some of you really want to go to Maggaphala and Nibbana, then it's a must, it's not an option. It has to develop, and it has to be developed to the utmost that you can develop it. The further you want to reach, the more you have to develop it. Just to remind you. Huh? It's not me that I want donation or that I need your respect. It doesn't matter to me if you give me your respect or not. It doesn't matter to me if you give me this or give me that, give me money or give me food or this or that. It doesn't matter to me. This is not important for me. It's important for you to develop. So do remember this. Keep it in mind. Keep it behind your ears, or remember it well. I don't like to talk about this subject. That's why I don't talk about very often. But once in a while, I have to talk, especially if I see some people, that came here, who just display these faculties that I've talked about to an extreme point. And that reminds me that there is a need, to talk about it. It's not all of you who come here. Some have developed it more or less, and others, have very little of it. It's for your own self to decide how much you have and how much you have to develop. But certainly gratitude and respect is something that most of you need more or less. Generosity as well. So decide for yourself. Generosity has 3 fruits. The first fruit is the happiness that giving makes. The first fruit is actually, buying something or selecting something that one wants to give. The second joy is giving it actually to the other person. And the third joy is when the karma comes back to us, when we receive something unexpected. So 3 joys with giving. And gratitude, makes a joy. The moment we are grateful, when we receive something, it's a joyful state of mind. It's not unhappy. And respect is also a joyful state of mind. It's a pleasant state of mind. Feeling conceited, feeling better than the other is a very unpleasant state. Look at yourself. Look in the practice how unpleasant it is. But having respect having humility, develop humility is a pleasant feeling. So all of them, develop some pleasant feelings within us. And if we don't have it, just let's develop us. We have been so much educated in the West that this is our right, and this is our right, and this is our right. So we just take it. Nothing is our right. Not even to be born is our right. Once we are born, the only right we have is to die. And get sick and have dukkha. That is our right. The other things are free will on the other hand, So grateful for whatever happens to you right now. This is something. Even if the things that come to us are not to our liking. Then be grateful, that at least now you can take it in a good way, in a profitable way. Can change it to something positive. This means developing gratitude. Not only taking things that we like, but also accepting things that we do not like. And see the value in it. And that means gratitude, seeing the value in what is given to us. See the value in it that we can learn something from it. Not only that, something, we always think somebody wants to make us feel bad. Sometimes somebody wants to put us down. Of course, if we think like that, then we are down. But if we think, maybe he has right, maybe there's something that I need to correct, then it's positive for us, then we can correct it and get rid of it. These are the values. And they are prerequisite if you really want to dive into practice. The deeper we want to, the more it is necessary to have developed these attitudes or these virtues. And remember, if you decide to go to the heaven, then you have to develop it to a high degree. The 5 moral precepts alone is not enough to get in the heavenly realms. These virtues must be developed as well. The devas highly respect them. People who are generous are highly respected. People who are grateful are highly respected. People who have a lot of humility, a lot of respect for others are highly respected. At least in the upper realms. But on the human realm, there only exists greed and hate. We need to get rid of our opponent. If you cannot get rid of his body, or if you can make him die, then we have to hurt him. That's our attitude. Live and let die. Let the others, who are on our way of success or on our way of happiness, let them die. Or shit on their heads. Or make them feel bad, so that we can feel good. It helps us in all respects. So remember this one. It's actually, when you call it, if you look at the path that leads to the end of all dukkha, it's one of the columns. One of the columns lay people can develop in their lives. That is not impossible. They don't have to develop so much insight and so much samadhi, but this column they can raise without any problem. These 3 virtues, including the 5 moral precepts. If they're not successful in meditation or practice or insight developed in wisdom, then this is what they can do. And it will help them. It will make their life easier. And once they decide to go on the path of practice, they will have a nice life. There will be always, wherever they go, there will be support. Wherever I go, I am supported. It's not necessarily for all the monks. Sometimes I go to very, very poor areas of the country. And some of the monks who live there, sometimes get nothing. But when I get there, I always have enough to eat. I always have enough to live on. So if I haven't developed it to a certain degree, I wouldn't be able to do it. As I said, before, with the story of this bhikkhu who was stingy all his life, who ordained under the Lord Buddha. He had only little to eat, only 1 handful. That was given to him. And the rest, taken away from him. Because of his stinginess, he developed all of his lives. And it's not so that this, to develop these virtues is something very unpleasant. Actually, if you see it in the correct way, it's something very pleasant. As I mentioned, what are the choices, when we develop these. The joy of generosity, thinking about giving something, and then giving it away, and then receiving it. Most of the times we're receiving when we don't expect it. It comes back to us. Not just giving out of a reason, and then with a bad face or with a grin, with a wry grin on one's face, now I have to give some. This is not the right attitude. Then don't give. If you don't like to give, don't give. If you like to give, give. Develop it. Everything, the Dhamma is also given to you. So remember it well, because I'm not going to talk very often about it. It's not something that I really like to talk about. It's one of the topics I don't really like to talk about. If I ever like to talk about a topic, then it's a topic about developing samadhi and developing wisdom. I don't like to talk about the moral precepts. I think there's such a must, everybody who comes here have to keep them. So I would waste my time, by telling the people, how to behave correctly. It's their responsibility to behave correctly. Nor do I like to talk about heaven and hell, and good karma and bad karma. I expect people, to be educated enough, to understand these things before they come here. And in the beginning it was like this. Just people had these attitudes. But then, over the time it just came, that all sorts of people are coming in. People who didn't keep the 5 moral precepts, so I had to talk about the moral precepts. People, who didn't believe there's heaven and hell, so I had to talk about heaven and hell. And people who believed, that after this life everything is gone. I've never talked, 5 years, I've never talked about this subject. Now I had to talk about it. It's such a wrong view that is so fatal for us. I always wondered why Tanaja Mahaboy is so often talking about this. About this wrong view that everything after this life is gone and everything just will disappear, just will disappear. It will disappear where? How can it disappear? Nothing can disappear in this whole world. Everything changes, we know that. So the wood that is consumed by fire changes into something else, changes into ashes and heat. So the fire element and the water element and the earth element in exchange. It's the same thing with food, When we take in the food, it's the water element, earth element, air element and fire element that we need. That are exchanged in our body. So it needs a change. Well, because quite a few people that Tanaja Mahaboa met, he had the feeling, or he had the need to talk about it. Because people really thought, I can do whatever I want, because after this life I don't know anything anymore. I'm gone. So I can be completely irresponsible. And when I catch it, that one of you has this views, then I have to talk about it. And I caught it up. And that's why the first time I talked about this. It's not that, these topics are something, very, very, I really like to talk. For me, it's so completely out of the question. I don't even think about it. How can be somebody so stupid and believe that everything is gone? Physics shows us, nothing is gone. Everything changes into something else. So how can we be so stupid, to believe, after this life everything is gone? How can we believe, then if we know the physics and we are brought up in the West, we are in the Western Hemisphere, we are brought up by the laws of physics. The things, have the results. If I take an action, it will have a result. So how can't we believe, that there is karma, that there is good karma and bad karma? This question never has arisen in my heart. So that there's heaven and there's hell, it's so clear. So for me, it's not necessary to talk about it. But if some of you who don't believe in it, it is necessary. And only, not that you only don't believe it, or you might believe it or not believe it, but the masses outside. But the masses outside are not coming here to practice. So there's no need to tell them. It's their fate, it's their life that they live. It's their responsibility. But people who come here to practice, then at least, that is something that we have to share. And even if it's only a view that we have to share. If it's a belief that we have to share. And it's a must. It's one of the wrong views that hinder us and make us going into the wrong direction. Believing that there's no hell and there's no heaven, or believing there's no results of good karma or bad karma, or just the belief that we can exchange the good karma with the bad karma, make the bad karma unhappy. It's not possible. Whatever bad karma we have done, is in one store, and or in one house or one storeroom. And whatever good karma we have is in another store. And where are the storerooms, for our bad karma? Storerooms are down in the hell realms. That means, whatever bad karma you do, you build up your place in hell. And whatever good karma you do, you build up your place in heaven. And it depends on the time of the death, where you go. You go either in heaven or you go into hell. The places are built. Some are not finished, some are more or less finished. And the place that, of course, we always like to go in the place that is most finished, that's where we go. If the place in hell is more finished than the place in heaven, then we go there. So it's like we build our house. One brick at a time, one stone at a time. If you want to see your places, you can go there and look at them, how well they are built up. I don't care to see it. Sometimes it's better not to know. You can get really frightened, like it happened to one of my monk brothers. He went down there, and then the guardian of hell welcomed him. Oh, there you are. This is your place. Oh. And I think he was so shocked when he saw. And then the guardian took another look at him and said, "Oh, well, you're not dead. Well, if you continue life like that, you know where you go." And the next time he went up to the place in heaven, where he saw, where his mansion is built. So, it wasn't done yet. It was just in the building process. So with good karma, we build up the place there. And with bad karma, we build up the place there. And whatever is ready, that's where we go. So take this, what I said today, take it really to heart. And if I catch one of you, I have to talk about again. Normally, I don't, if I don't see it anything really cross, I don't talk about it. But if I see something cross, and it has crossed about a few days ago, I saw something that I really didn't like. And I still see something, that's why I remind you. Normally, so take it to heart and remember. It's not something that, as I said, it's not something that where I profit from. It's not something that I like to talk about it, because it has little to do with actually doing the practice of samadhi and developing wisdom. But it's a prerequisite And because it's a prerequisite, like when you go to university, you have to have the prerequisite to have finished your high school. No matter how good or how bad, as long as you finished your high school, then you can go to university. So it's a prerequisite for actually doing our practice. And with this I stop for now. So if you have any question, then you can ask.